All right, so now we're recording. Share screen. All right. I need this to move. There we go. All right. This thing's kind of in my way. All right. So Corey wanted some of us who went to leadership in LA to talk about some of the things that we learned. And hey, those of you who don't have your lines muted, if y'all can mute them because I'm hearing an echo. Just a reminder. Anyway, she asked us to share some of the things that we learned. And so one of the topics that we talked about was effective goal setting. And I think we've all kind of, heard a little bit here and there about goal setting, and there's tons of stuff out there. But I really want to try to keep it simple because I think if you break down like too much of this big overwhelming process, it's almost too much to take in. And so I think you kind of have to get the concept of it and then find what system works for you. So that's kind of what I'm going to try to do today. So I like this quote. A dream written down with a date is a goal. A goal broken down into steps becomes a plan, and a plan backed by action makes your dreams come true. So, I think we all have had dreams at one point or another. I know that I have realized that I dream more now, like dream bigger dreams now that I'm a coach than before, because I have an opportunity to make those dreams come true. But I think as kids, we dream dreams of, things we want to do. But just thinking of stuff you want to do isn't going to get you there. You've got to, put a date on it, make it a goal, break that down and make a plan and actually follow through with your plan in order to actually get there, because you're not going to hit a target if you aren't aiming for it. So there's lots of different kind of goals that you can have. And I'm going to, focus on business goals for the most part when I talk about examples and things. But you should have more than just business goals. You should have, business goals like income or rank, or if you want to have a certain number of Success Club points every month, things like that. Those are important goals to have just so you can stay on track with your growth. But it's also really important to have goals. They're personal, like your family, your faith, relationships. Maybe you want to have a goal to improve your marriage, or to improve your relationship with your kids, or spend more time with, close friends, things like that. That I think lots of times those things get overlooked. And I know, especially if you are reaching for business goals, sometimes things like family can take the back seat. So I think it's really, really important to also make those personal goals and steps and plans, things like that, to keep that relevant as well, so that you don't lose, in other areas of life when you're gaining in some. So, because personally, I think that if your relationships aren't in line, like family and your faith, then none of your business success even matters. So, I definitely want to encourage you to keep that in mind too. And then, on the business side, there's your team goals, things like the leadership ladder. I think we should all be aiming to, try to move up a rung in the leadership ladder. Those things are in your online office if you're not sure what I'm talking about. Maybe reaching for elite, or, having growth within your team so that you can qualify for trips like the one that several of us just got back from in Utah. So those are all good goals to have. So how do you make your goals a reality? Once you think about things you want to accomplish, you have to write them down. You can't just sit, on your couch and have a brainstorming session and think, oh, this would be great, and this would be great, and this would be great. And you're like, all right, I've got some goals, and, be done. You have to write them down. You have to think about them and make a plan on how you're going to get there. So once you have decided, sorry, all these little boxes from Zoom are in my way on my slides, and I don't know if it's blocking y'all, but anyway, there. Okay, so once you have written down your goals, You need to think about what it's going to take to actually get you to your goals. Say you want to become a diamond in the next 90 days. You need to think about what's going to take to get there. How many coaches do you have now? How many coaches do you need to get there? And, what's the difference? And break that down by month. How many coaches does that mean per month? How many does that mean per week? And, what do you need to do each day to meet those requirements? So it really helps to really break it down on a daily basis, because then you're breaking it down to specific tasks. So, this can vary based on what your goals are, but, you want to work in 90-day increments. I've learned through several different sources that this is the best time frame to work with. So when you are, after we get off this call, when you're looking at your goals, I want you to think within the next 90 days, what do you want to accomplish in the various areas of your life? And so that's the time frame that you want to focus on. And you want to continually reevaluate how you're doing in reaching these goals throughout that 90 days. So it should be more than just a goal. It's not just, I want to do this. We talk a lot about our why in coaching, and that's really the heart of it, is why do you want this to happen? What is the reasoning behind it? So, what is your mission as a coach? And not just what is Beachbody's mission. I think the mission statement of Beachbody is great, which is to help people achieve their goals by leading healthy, fulfilling lives. Hopefully I worded that correctly. And that's great, but you need to make it more personal to you. I'm still working on wording my mission statement. But, for me, it's something about helping moms achieve freedom through, in fitness and financial freedom for their family, and living their purpose or something like that. Obviously, I haven't fine-tuned it, but something that speaks to me and why I personally do what I do. And, when you have something that speaks to you, it's going to keep you honest, humble, and devoted to your work every day. So, I was just kind of going through a possible mission statement for me as a coach, but I also would need to have a mission statement as a wife, as a mom, what is my mission in that role? And so I want to encourage you guys to come up with things like that, because I think it really just makes your goals real when you frame it that way. And you can think about it as, what do you want to do for others through your life's work? Because, when we serve others, that's when we really live our best life. So we're not done yet, but I want to go ahead and tell you what your homework is before I talk about a couple other things. So I don't want to just give you some information and then you just say, oh, that was cool, and then, go on without, with your life. I want you to actually do something with what we talked about. And hopefully this will apply to everybody, because I know I need to refocus on my goals from time to time as well. So this, when we had our talk at New Leader Conference, she talked about creating a 5-year vision each area of your life. And, where do you want to be in 5 years, both with your business and with your family? Maybe where do you want to live? What do you want to have accomplished in lots of different areas? So first, I would sit down and visualize it, think about it in your head, and then write it down, or maybe do a voice memo or something and describe it. Or you could do a drawing if you're, artsy, or do a vision board, but put it to life, where you can look at it or listen to it or read it from time to time to relive those feelings of what you want. And so then once you've kind of created that 5-year vision, then you're going to focus on the next 90 days. What can you do in the next 90 days to get you one step closer to that goal? And like I said, you're going to break that 90 days down into monthly, weekly, and daily tasks. And then once you've done that, come up with some goals, and, maybe even just start with 2. Maybe just start with 1 business goal and 1 personal goal, and kind of work on getting a system that works for you. I wouldn't try to come up with like 6 goals and, all these different tasks, because that could get overwhelming. But once you've come up with your couple goals and broken it down into specific tasks, find somebody to help keep you accountable. We preach all the time that the magic in what we do is in the groups, and it's so true. And it's the same with reaching your goals. Even though they're your goals, whether personal or business, it's so hard to do by yourself. It's so much easier to quit when no one knows you're doing it. So maybe if it's, your marriage, make goals with your spouse and work on reaching them together, or, have a success partner with your business to help keep you on track. And then I want to encourage you to put like a sticky note somewhere, either by your bed, maybe or maybe just like make the background of your phone this message, or on your bathroom mirror, and remind you daily of your the vision that you had, and just keep you on track, because it's so easy to forget what we're working towards, day to day. If we're not reminded, even if it's something really important to us, it's easy to just get distracted by life. And so I think having a visual somewhere that you can see, and something as simple as a sticky note with like a couple words even that just jogs your memory daily, can help so much. So that's your homework again. 5-year vision, then come up with 90-day goals, and then find someone to keep you accountable and put some reminder somewhere in your house. So when I was getting ready for this presentation, I found a podcast that I listened to, and it was like 10 minutes, so it was really quick, and it was exactly what I needed to hear for this, and I wanted to share it with you. It's very simple and straightforward, and really similar to what I've talked about already, but if you want to listen to it, it was Brendon Burchard's podcast, The Charged Life, and it was called How to Stop Quitting on Your Goals. Because the last thing I want is for you to listen to this call and even write down some goals and then just completely, forget about them in a couple days, because we have so much life going on. So this is a lot of kind of what I mentioned already, but specifically, number one, to either start visualizing or bring it back if you've done it before, visualizing these goals. So that's where that little reminder comes in that I mentioned, that you can bring it to your forefront of your mind more frequently. I heard a couple places recently. I listened to this podcast, and then I've listened to the Miracle Morning again recently. And they talk about how, visualization is part of the Miracle Morning. And that's something like was a foreign concept to me before, the Miracle Morning, and sounded a little bit cheesy, but it makes a lot of sense. But they talked about when you're visualizing, you don't want to just visualize the end product. I mean, like, you want to visualize the end because you want to get all that feeling of accomplishment, but you also need to visualize the process. And I think that was really interesting. Like, it was talking about people that are like long distance runners. They're not going to just visualize themselves crossing the finish line, because when they do that, they start to slow their training, because their mind already kind of thinks that they've done it. So they visualize the process of getting through the race, of going through and feeling tired, but pushing on and, just continuing despite all the obstacles. So I want to encourage you to do that. Wake up in the morning, visualize yourself, doing your power hour, and maybe meeting some obstacles, but pushing through them, and visualize talking to the person that says, oh my gosh, I'm so glad you messaged me. This is like the perfect time. Visualize that kind of stuff. It will help fuel your fire. It'll help keep you going, keep you motivated, remind you why you're doing what you're doing. So I definitely want to encourage you to do that. And then number 2, revisit your goals weekly and rate how you did at the end of each week. So, we talked about the 9-day goals, breaking them down. And you need to have some sort of tracking system. So there's lots of things online. I'm sure you could just Google, goals tracking system, or, there's tons of things out there, but it could be really simple. Like, you could take a piece of paper and put your goals and put like the Saturday date several weeks in a row, and like put the steps that it's going to take that you need to do each week or each day. And then at the end of each week, just go and check and see which of those you met. And you'll have to just kind of play around with it to see what works for you, but you need to track it. And then you can see how you're doing, and you'll be able to see those weeks that you made a lot of progress on your goal. You probably did a lot better in a lot of areas. But I want to say that don't feel like you have to do it perfectly every week, and don't get discouraged if you have a week where you don't hit everything. Don't think, well, this isn't working for me, I'm never going to hit this goal, I might as well just quit. You got to keep going, because I was listening to the 12-Week Year, which is a great book for setting goals and working on a process on that. But I can't remember the exact percentage, but I want to say that, like, they said if you are just hitting, like, I want to say 75% of what you should be doing every week, you will make huge progress on your goals. So, I mean, we should all aim for 100%, but like I said, don't feel like if you're not hitting that 100%, you're not going to get there. Because as it is with fitness, it's the same thing in our business. It's consistency, and it's continuing the journey. It's not like doing it perfectly every single day. It's just consistency. So same thing here. And then number 3, to keep you from quitting, is to get support. And so that's like what I talked about with the accountability. So if you don't have a success partner, talk to your upline about it, and, you can find one, or talk, if you have a friend that you talk to a lot, a coach on your team, you basically already have a success partner, and just, make it official and say, let's keep each other accountable in meeting our goals. And so, but definitely find somebody that can keep you on track. I know I need it, and I think we all do, in order to actually hit the goals and stay on them. So resources to help you with your planning. I mentioned the 12-Week Year. It's a great book. It's definitely one I'm going to listen to again, along with the hard copy. I do so much better with audio, but that is one you really need the hard copy too. And so, but that's a great one. And then the Miracle Morning is just a great, great system for just helping you achieve your goals. And so if you haven't read that, definitely check it out. It can help you just get a system in the morning for being consistent with what you need to do each day. The Chalene Show and Build Your Tribe, if you haven't listened to those podcasts, they're great. There's a ton of episodes in there that relate to your goals, and how to be efficient, how to stay on track, how to stay motivated. So that definitely is a big help. And then, like I mentioned earlier, the podcast, The Charged Life, is really good as well. And so those, I'm going to look at the chat real quick. Okay. Yes, those podcasts are really great. And yes, I can post this slide in the group page. But like, really, if you haven't made goals, I want to really encourage you to do some PD in that area and get it done. Like I said, with the visualization being a foreign concept to me, there's so much out there for goal setting and things like that. But you have to find what works for you. And that's why I didn't want to spend time. I mean, we didn't even discuss it at New Leader Conference, but I didn't want to spend time teaching you like the way I want to do things, or because it may not work for you. And so I want to just kind of give you a broad overview of what you need to be reaching for, and then you need to figure out a system that works for you. We have the new business activity tracker in the online office that helps you track your tasks as a coach every day, and that's a great tool for tracking. You can use that in growing your business, and then reevaluate that every weekend and look at what you've done, and that's a great way to track things. So there's a ton of things out there. I'm going to stop sharing my screen and see if anybody, because I'm pretty sure that was my last slide. Yeah. Let's see if anybody has any stuff that they want to recommend as far as goals. the way they track them or the way that they decide, or how they meet their goals. I know that Jackie has impressed me several times in the way that she works on her goals, and she does a really good job of planning them and tracking them, and you inspire me, Jackie. So so I think that you got to find what works for you. So does anybody have any questions? No. Yeah, the 90-day, Shalene used to have this 90-day thing. Thanks, Jackie. And it was really good, but I think she might have taken it down because now she has her Smart Life Push Journal thing, and so she may not offer it anymore. But she does have a really, really good podcast, and I think it was on Build Your Tribe, and it was like how to make more money in the next 90 days or something like that. And it's got really great step-by-step whole life kind of goal planning in that episode. So I highly recommend that one. And it's really good. So if you need a direction. But I think that's all. So nobody has any other questions. I will go ahead and end the call. Thank you all for showing up, and I hope that was helpful. You'll have a good night. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
You're welcome.